Kyle is packing in his train car when his phone starts pinging. He gets a ton of messages from Summer and Claire. He realizes Harrison will be asleep in Milan, so calls Claire. Claire picks up Kyle's call at the tack house and asks if he's okay. He tells her he is, but the chateau has turned into Cain Ashby's house of horrors. She asks, "Who is Cain Ashby?" And Kyle explains that he's Lily Winters' ex-husband. He used the alias Dumas to amass his billions. He tells her about being brought there on a train and the storm washing out the road and tracks. They've been stuck with no way out and no way to call. Claire asks if it was beautiful. He tells her it would have been if people hadn't died. Claire panics over her family. He tells her they're fine, though her Uncle Nick was injured and has gone to the hospital. But he's going to be okay. Claire asks if anyone has called her mom. He wanted to speak to her. "How are you?" "How's Cole?" Claire says. "He didn't make it." Kyle gawps. "What?" Claire says, "My dad died." Claire explains about the Legionnaire's disease, and Kyle wishes he could hold her. He hopes to be home as soon as possible. He asks when this happened. Claire tells him they are having a service today since they hadn't heard from any of them. Victoria comes down the stairs as Claire and Kyle express their love and disconnect. Victoria tells her daughter she just spoke with her parents. They marvel at two people ending up dead, and Claire asks who died. Victoria says her mother called from the hospital and had to be brief. Claire suggests holding off on the service until they get home. Victoria says they don't know when Nick will be released. Today could just be about the two of them saying goodbye. They hug. In his study, Cain looks at the surveillance screens and flinches as he recalls the sound of the gunshot ringing out. Amanda wanders in and asks how he's feeling. He's not sure how to respond. She guesses he's in shock. They all are. Cain blames himself for not knowing Carter was unstable and that he needed help. "My God, 3 people have died." Amanda tells him the police investigation is basically concluded. The security footage helped, along with Carter's confession that he killed Damian. Cain asks if they bought the lack of cell service as an unforeseen event. She says she did, but tells him she unjammed the signal without his permission. He tells her she did the right thing. She says he's in the clear. He asks, "Am I?" Cain doesn't know how to be okay with 3 people dying on his property. Jill, who is just like a mother to him, just lost her grandson, and it's happened on his watch. He died saving his life. What if he encouraged Carter too much? He knew about Lily and his hopes for the future. Amanda tells Cain he cannot blame himself for this. They had no way of predicting that Carter would have acted this way. Cain feels he should have seen the signs. He could have gotten him the help he needed. Amanda reminds Cain he was good to Carter. Cain says, "Now he's dead, along with 2 innocent men. And Nick is in the hospital because he was stupid enough to think he might be guilty." Amanda wants to think ahead to what's next. Cain says they'll play it out as planned. Amanda argues that the dynamics have changed considerably. He's gained more enemies than friends. Cain says this was never about popularity. He has a vision, and there is no way in hell he'll back down now. Cain reminds Amanda that everything is about Lily. He's more determined than ever to see his plan through. Amanda worries he's underestimating his targets. Cain reminds her they were this close with Nikki. Amanda points out it all went to hell. As confident as she is in his genius, the families will be aligned against him. Cain's not worried. He thinks they can do anything together, but if she wants to walk away, he completely understands. She states, "I'll stay." He thanks her, and she walks out. Cain then clears his desk in frustration. In the main train car, Diane wonders who it could all end like this, with Damian and Chance dead. Jack rants that it's ended like this because of that monster Cain and his ego. Now 2 good men are gone. Billy reveals that he told Abby about Chance. It wasn't easy. Phyllis is dreading telling Summer. She and Chance were close. Diane goes over the tragedy of it all. Phyllis agrees it was senseless, but complains about everyone pointing fingers at Cain. Billy backs her up. Jack, appalled, insists that he may not have wielded the weapons, but the deaths are on Cain's head. They bicker as Billy and Phyllis defend Cain, saying he didn't intend for any of this to happen. Sally states that 3 people are dead nonetheless. Jack says Chance was such a good guy, always came through. Jill and Nina are going to be devastated by this loss. Billy is sure his mother will find a way to blame him for it. Jack and Phyllis remind him he had no part of it and played a part in saving people. Billy says Chance died a hero. Jack offers to be with Billy when he calls Jill. Billy will leave that to Cain. He doubts she'd even pick up if he calls. This news is better coming from someone other than him. Audra strolls in, and Diane tells her if she's looking for her son, he's not there. Audra has no interest in tracking down Kyle. Diane tells her she's humiliated herself. Audra's not interested in defending herself, given Nate's brother is dead, and Amy will be devastated. She stalks over to Sally, who pours her a drink. Jack reads Cain's welcome note about wait and hope, and Diane points out they still don't know what his plan is, or was. At the tack house, Victoria welcomes Nate in and tells him he didn't have to come by. He thinks it's important to help them honor Cole. He says he briefly spoke to Audra, who gave him the sense that the chateau was quite the ordeal. He wonders if they've decided to hold off on the service. Claire tells her mother that she would like her grandparents and Kyle to be there. Victoria nods. They can wait a day or two. Nate thinks it's wise to wait until they have more people to support them. Nothing cuts deeper than losing someone you love. In her train car, Lily hesitates before picking up her phone and calling Nate. At the tack house, Nate answers Lily's call and steps outside when she warns he needs to take the call in private. He asks if she's all right about Cain being Dumas. She says it threw her for a loop, but she's okay. Nate says she doesn't sound okay. He got the sense there was something Audra wasn't telling him. Lily says that's her fault. She hates doing this over the phone, but she didn't want to wait until they got home. She takes a deep breath and says, "Nate, Damian is gone. He was killed." Nate tries to take this in. Why? How? Was there an accident? Lily cries, "He was murdered!" Nate asks how this is possible. Lily explains that the troubled assistant Carter killed him out of some distorted loyalty to Cain. He felt Damian was a romantic threat to Cain. Nate rants that they weren't even a couple. Lily admits they got together at the chateau and became romantically involved. Carter got rid of him to clear the path for Cain. Nate asks if he was doing Cain's bidding. Lily says he claims he had no idea, and he believes him. Nate hopes Carter didn't get away. Lily breathes, "He shot himself." She cries that she just wanted him to hear about this from her. She wanted him to be able to tell Amy himself. Nate marvels that Amy barely got her son back, and now he's gone. "This will crush her," Lily cries. "I'm so sorry, Nate. This shouldn't have happened." He tells Lily to get home safe and disconnects. Nate re-enters the tack house and tells Victoria and Claire that his brother Damian was murdered at the chateau. He can't believe it. He thought they had a lifetime to get to know each other, and now he's gone. Victoria embraces him. They urge him to stay. He admits part of him dreads going home to break this news to Amy. Damian being back in her life gave her the will to fight her cancer. Victoria says, "My heart goes out to you and to her." Maybe his years in medicine prepared him, just a little, to share this news. Nate says, "This is different. This is my family." As Lily's wiping her tears in her train car, Cain knocks and enters. She rolls her eyes. He tells her he wanted to say goodbye before the train left. "Is there anything you need from me?" Lily thinks he's done more than enough. She just had to tell Nate that his brother died. She doesn't know where he is or how he took the news because she's stuck there on this train. Cain says the deaths will haunt him for the rest of his life. She says, "Good." None of this would have happened if he hadn't decided to play God with their lives. Cain will make it right. Lily says he can't make this right. She has a realization and gawps. "My God, are you still planning on coming back to Genoa City?" Cain shrugs. "Would it be the worst thing?" Lily tells her ex he's caused nothing but tragedy. Cain still wants a chance to prove himself. Lily tells him he's deceived her on a massive scale. Why would she believe anything he says ever again? What will he tell their kids? He built a fortune with his father, of all people. He insists that Colin changed, and that changed him. Lily doesn't think he's changed for the better, and nothing he can say or do will convince her. Kyle arrives in the train car where his parents are, glances at Audra, and then tells Jack and Diane that he spoke with Claire and Cole passed away. Diane and Jack are stunned. Kyle can't understand why he ever thought being there, pursuing petty revenge, was more important. Across the car, Billy asks Phyllis if she's thought about his offer to team up again. She reminds him he's screwed her over twice. Why should she trust him? Jack sidles up and asks what they're talking about. Phyllis says they're consoling each other after everything that's happened. Billy tells Phyllis not to mind his brother. Jack says things need to change. Billy informs Jack they'll have a conversation after they get back to Genoa City. There will be major changes. Jack agrees and walks away. Phyllis wants to know what major changes Billy has in mind and asks for details. Billy says they'll talk about the future when they get home. By the bar, Audra tells Sally they have a lot of catching up to do. But not here. Sally looks at Phyllis and Billy and muses, "Yeah, I agree." Sally walks off and Kyle corners Audra to see that Claire's dad died, and thanks to her, he's trapped there and can't be with her. Audra's sorry to hear about Claire's dad, but him choosing to be there is not on her. "You kissed me back, Kyle." Kyle fumes that she failed, and he hopes he gets a front row seat to Victor dropping the hammer on her. He doesn't let failure go unpunished. It's only a matter of time. In Lily's train car, Cain refuses to believe that all they've shared has completely evaporated. Lily informs him that nothing will happen between them ever again, and he only has himself to blame. The train whistle sounds and she says, "Goodbye, Cain." He replies, "Not goodbye." She pleads with him not to come back. "People have died," Cain tells her. "Until we meet again, Lily." Lily hollers. Does he not understand that people don't want him there? "Please, just stay away." Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. Welcome to the Young and the Restless Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing, or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. On the Young and the Restless, when you've been trapped in the French Riviera at an estate, but not invited into the actual mansion, and are surrounded by friends, family, and murders, well, it can get to a person. At least, that's the excuse that Kyle, Jack, and Lily can use to explain why they're just so snarky. Okay, so Lily had barely updated her Facebook status from "in a relationship" to "it's complicated" when her new boyfriend was already gone forever. But she is being over the top in her blaming of Cain. Sure, the murders wouldn't have happened if he hadn't invited everyone for a swell time, but he never wanted any of that to happen. He's scarred too, we think. And Jack can be mad at Billy for wanting things without asking for his permission, but demanding to know what he's talking about with everyone is a little too henpeckish now. As for Kyle, it was his idea to go to France to see if Audra would hit on him. No one forced him to respond in kind. What thinks he's projecting now? She did what he thought she'd do for the reasons he thought she would. Why is he acting like he was blindsided and betrayed? Kyle broke his contract, and Claire wouldn't approve of any of what happened in that train car. Kyle's got 99 problems, but Audra probably isn't the biggest one. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full Y&R recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not, seriously, do not forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, July 30th have Victor teaching Cain a hard lesson, Victoria and Adam calling a truce, and Nate sharing bad news with Amy Cain's gala at his chateau in Nice, France, was filled with tragedy that no one could have imagined. Whatever Cain had planned, he did not mean for both Damian and Chance to die, but intentions don't matter much when there's a loss of life. On Wednesday's show, watch for Victor to teach Cain a hard lesson. Victor is none too happy that Nick was held against his will and was injured while trying to escape. Cain is about to learn that one does not want Victor as an enemy. Adam was very supportive of Victoria when he learned that Cole had died. Victoria is also aware that Adam has held down the fort while her family was away in France. Sure, there's been animosity between Vicky and her younger half-brother, the black sheep of the family, but that's changing. On Wednesday's show, watch for the two to call a truce. Cain has bought up a lot of properties in Genoa City. The Newmans will need to remain a united front to make sure that the billionaire doesn't wrest control of the business landscape. Nate only learned last year that he had an older half-brother in Damian Cain. Nate, senior fathered Damian with Damian's mom, Amy. Alas, Nate is now tasked with informing Amy that Damian was murdered in France by Carter, in a misguided effort to reunite Cain and Lily. Ironically, Amy was the one who was facing mortality when she came to Genoa City because she was battling cancer. Thanks to Damian and an experimental treatment program, Amy regained her health and went into remission. Now, she's going to have to process the loss of her son. She has an amazing, supportive surrogate family in Nate and Audra. Amy will likely lean on them as she mourns her son. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Connor Floyd recently talked about crying over Chance Chancellor's exit and diving into Chad DiMera's world on Days of Our Lives. In an interview with TV Insider, Floyd discussed this soapy transition and all the complicated emotions that came with it. For starters, Floyd acknowledged that Chance's heroic departure seemed fitting for the character. Since Chance dove in front of Cain Ashby and took a bullet from Carter's gun, he indeed died a hero. It was a tough blow for Chance fans to see him go out that way, but Floyd felt it was a little poetic. Connor Floyd also suggested Y&R head writer and executive producer Josh Griffith perhaps had Chance die in Cain's arms on purpose, since he's taking over Billy Flynn's role as Chad DiMera on Days of Our Lives. Of course, that softened the blow of Chance's exit for Floyd a bit. Knowing he had another job lined up in Salem helped, but Floyd admitted it was still hard to leave Genoa City behind. "Oh man, I'm so soft-hearted, and I'm such a crier," Floyd admitted. "I was going into this thing being like, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry." Since Flynn cried when he left Duel, he bet that Floyd would do the same when he left Y&R. Floyd confessed that after filming his final scenes and saying farewell to everybody, he indeed cried like a baby when he was leaving the studio. Although Floyd still struggled with tears when he got together with some castmates later, he knew he had great things to look forward to over on Duel. Connor Floyd is already filming as Chad at Days, but he won't begin airing until April 2026. Even so, it's clear that Floyd is loving the chance to tackle a different role. The DiMera family is really cool, and the more I dig into it, this character has a lot to unpack. I like working, so I was really excited to dive deep into Chad and explore this world that he's in, Floyd said. Floyd also posted a fun video and bittersweet Chance exit message on his Instagram account as a way to say goodbye to Y&R. "Chance will always have a close place in my heart. He's taught me a lot, and I'll miss him dearly. It's been an absolute honor to represent the Chancellor legacy. Detective Chancellor, over and out," Floyd said as part of his farewell post. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Chance's loved ones will mourn as the terrible news continues to spread, so stay tuned for updates on all the heartbreak. The Young and the Restless recap for Tuesday, July 29th, reveals that Cain Ashby will reject Lily Winter's goodbye, while Claire Newman reveals Cole Howard's death to Kyle Abbott. In Cain's office on Tuesday's Y&R episode, Amanda Sinclair will talk about the bodies being taken away and the police clearing Cain. However, Cain will still blame himself for all the deadly drama that played out with Damian Cain, Chance Chancellor, and Carter. Despite all the chaos and the enemies Cain's made, he'll insist on sticking to his original plan back in Genoa City. Amanda won't be so sure that's the right call, but she'll refuse to bail on him now. Meanwhile, Kyle's phone will ding to let him know he's got cell service again, so he'll call Claire right away. After Kyle explains the stranded situation, he'll talk about Cain, aka Aristotle Dumas' House of Horrors and the deaths that occurred at his estate. Claire will also find out that Nick Newman got injured, but Kyle will offer reassurance about her family being safe. When Kyle asks about Cole, Claire will admit he passed away. That news will stun Kyle, who'll wish he could hold her. Kyle will vow to be home soon and will feel terrible about not being there for Claire while she's been grieving. After the conversation wraps up, Kyle will give Jack Abbott, Diane Jenkins Abbott, and ultimately Audra Charles updates on Cole's demise. Kyle will basically blame Audra for dragging him off on this trip when he should have been home with Claire. Audra will be sorry about Cole, but she won't think she should be held responsible for Kyle's actions. Once talk turns to Vibrante and how Victor hasn't yanked it away from Audra yet, Kyle will feel confident that's still coming since Victor Newman doesn't let failure go unpunished. At the Tack House, Victoria Newman will come downstairs after speaking with Nikki Newman over the phone and hearing about all the murder mayhem, though neither Victoria nor Claire will know who died. Claire and Victoria will be torn over whether to move forward with their mini-memorial plans now that the Newmans are coming home. Nate Hastings will show up in a suit for the service, but he'll agree with Claire when she wants to wait until they have more support around them. Although Nate will mention that Audra called him, he'll note that she wasn't alone and couldn't really get into the details of what happened. Instead, it'll be Lily who calls Nate with Damian's murder shocker. Nate will ask plenty of questions about how it all went down, and will worry about how this is going to shatter Amy Lewis. Once Nate hangs up with Lily, he'll fill Victoria and Claire in on Damian's grim fate. That'll give Victoria a chance to comfort Nate as he tries to wrap his head around all this. On the train, Billy Abbott will wonder if Phyllis Summers has given any more thought to the alliance he pitched. Phyllis will confess that she's intrigued, but she'll wonder why she should trust Billy again after his betrayals. Billy will also mention that he told Abby Winters about Chance's death, but he'll think Cain should be the one to tell Jill Abbott. As for Billy and Jack, they'll share some tense moments before Billy suggests they have some changes to talk about back home. Phyllis will pump Billy for more information, but he won't want to jinx it and will think they can discuss the details later. After Cain throws everything off his desk in a fit of rage, he'll find Lily in her train car. Cain will be apologetic and admit he's going to be haunted by the deaths on his property as long as he lives. Although Cain will hope to make this right somehow, Lily won't see how that's possible. Lily will think this is goodbye, but Cain will refuse to believe their love has just evaporated. When Lily realizes Cain is still planning on coming back to Genoa City, she'll push him to see that no one wants him there. Cain will offer up an "until we meet again" and leave Lily looking distraught at the idea of her ex returning to her hometown. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that some fans are starting to feel like Amanda Sinclair is morphing into Hillary Curtis at this point. Has this scheming character transformation gone too far? Y&R fans will recall that although Hillary wasn't all bad, she was definitely someone who was willing to play dirty and stir the pot. Hillary certainly didn't play by the rules, so she was a fierce force to be reckoned with. Of course, Hillary was ultimately killed off, so Y&R brought Michelle Morgan back by inventing a new character for her. Morgan debuted as Amanda, who was later revealed as Hillary's long-lost twin sister. Amanda has always been a little more straight-laced and by the book than Hillary, at least until now. Ever since Amanda started working for Cain Ashby, her morals have gone right out the window. Amanda thankfully hasn't reached the same loyalty level as Carter, who was so devoted to Cain that he killed Damian Cain to clear his boss's path to a Lily Winters reunion. Carter turned on Cain in the end, but he was definitely unhinged in his employee commitment there for a while. Amanda clearly has some reservations about Cain's plans, but that hasn't stopped her from carrying out his wishes and making shady moves along the way. After all, Amanda knew the guests weren't really stranded, and that the cell service signal had been intentionally jammed. Cain even had Amanda keep the partygoers busy while he was on that sneaky visit to Genoa City. Amanda also tried to lock in a chancellor deal with Nikki Newman, while Nick Newman was held hostage with Sharon Newman. Plus, Amanda is refusing to bail on Cain despite her concerns over how everything blew up on his property. 3 people are deceased, and Cain's made a ton of enemies, so Amanda understandably has worries when it comes to his continued Genoa City plans. Nevertheless, Amanda isn't walking away from Cain and intends to keep doing whatever needs to be done as his attorney. Even when Amanda thought Cain might be guilty of killing Damian, she refused to turn her back on him. We're seeing a much different side of Amanda now, so it almost seems like the show's trying to morph her into a version of Hillary. That might be a good thing in some ways, since Hillary was the more entertaining sister. At the same time, it's a shame to see Amanda throw out who she used to be for the sake of this bizarre Cain loyalty. How do you feel about the updates to Amanda's character? Do you like the fact that Amanda's become a bit more sinister these days? The Young and the Restless spoilers say Amanda will keep tackling stunning news and fresh challenges for Cain's sake, so stay tuned. Lily ended up in danger. Carter wanted to kill her for the sake of his boss. Cain and Billy ended up saving Lily's life, which could lead to a steamy love triangle on The Young and the Restless. Lily found herself in the wrong place at the wrong time. She ended up in Carter's wrath, who was already on the warpath. Carter declared that he would do anything for his boss, Cain's. He was groomed into thinking like that because Cain threw all the rules out of the window. We saw that in the way he treated his guests at his French estate. Carter threatened to kill Lily so that Cain's heart wouldn't ache anymore. Billy and Cain had to find a way to save Lily. This might have been a symbol for the future of these characters. Y&R could be setting up a steamy love triangle involving these three characters. Yes, Lily was embarking on a romance with the late Damian, and Billy is in a committed relationship with Sally, but it's safe to say things will change once they return home. Relationships are likely to get a major shakeup. We're already seeing that with Sharon and Nick. For once in his life, Nick put himself out there and encouraged Sharon to kiss him. This will ruffle Phyllis's feathers once she finds out about them. She agreed with Billy that she would work with him, which would cause a strain in his relationship with Sally. Meanwhile, Cain will continue to pursue Lily in Genoa City. Billy warned Cain that these people aren't going to forgive and forget. He's better off staying in Nice, but Cain is stubborn. He believes that he deserves a second chance, especially with his ex-wife. Billy might try to interfere, which could bring him and Lily closer together. Once again, Cain will find himself on the outside looking in, losing out to another man. The whispers surrounding Amanda Sinclair's long absence from Genoa City have finally erupted into a firestorm of scandal, revealing a dark truth no one could have predicted. While many believed she was seeking a quiet life, Amanda was harboring a monstrous secret. A hidden marriage to Carter, Cain Ashby's enigmatic former assistant. Their union was not one of love, but a calculated partnership in crime. Together, they orchestrated a series of devastating events that shook the city to its core, including the murders of Damian Cain and Chance Chancellor and the brutal attack on Nick Newman. All the while, they raised a daughter in complete secrecy, shielding her existence as they wove their web of deception. Their carefully constructed world began to implode when an intuitive Lily Winters, sorting through Cain's old office, unearthed the one piece of evidence that tied them together: a marriage certificate. Faced with exposure, Amanda and Carter fled to Nice, France, in a desperate attempt to outrun justice. But the law has a long reach. Their capture has left Genoa City reeling and their innocent daughter caught in the crossfire, her future now in the hands of social services. The shockwaves of their crimes are devastating those left behind. In a heartbreaking scene at Chancellor Park, Nate Hastings was forced to deliver the crushing news of Damian's death to a fragile Amy. Her hope of reuniting with Damian had been the beacon guiding her through a difficult health battle, a hope that is now tragically extinguished, leaving her shattered by grief. Yet, as darkness consumes some, an unexpected light emerges within the Newman family. In the wake of her own grief for Cole Howard, Victoria Newman is finding unlikely solace and support from her half-brother, Adam. Their bitter rivalry has given way to a surprising alliance, a development that a watchful Victor Newman observes with cautious optimism, hoping it signals a new era of unity for his fractured family. Genoa City is at a tipping point. With Amanda and Carter facing justice, a child's future hanging in the balance, and the Newmans forging a fragile peace, the city holds its breath. But in a town built on secrets, the biggest question remains: who will be the next to fall, and what other truths are still buried, waiting to explode? Young and the Restless, 2-week spoilers for July 28th through August 8th. See Victor Newman slapping Cain Ashby. On Monday, July 28th, Nikki Newman is fully prepared to trade Chancellor Industries for Nick Newman, but she won't sign the electronic documents until she sees him. Amanda Sinclair is trying to make it happen, but Nikki pushes to see Nick first. Part of it is an affidavit of his innocence, since he has been framed. So Amanda takes Nikki and Lauren Fenmore to the storage room, but guess what? Lots of blood. No Nick. Nikki's really mad. She won't sign the papers. Amanda was so close to getting Chancellor for Cain. Billy Abbott, Sharon Newman, and Sally Spectra get bloody Nick back to the club car, and Sally hikes down for help. She comes back later and says the tracks are clear and have been for days. Meanwhile, Carter is using Lily Winters as a human shield, holding a gun on her. Carter confesses to drugging the liquor and stabbing Damian Cain, and Chance Chancellor is trying to talk him down, telling him to put down the gun and all that. Carter is ranting about doing all this for Cain, who says he never asked for any of it. Then Carter drags Lily away. Billy runs into Lily and Carter, and also tries to talk the guy down. Chance and Cain catch up to them. Cain tells Carter, "Let her go. Take me." Carter lets her go. Then Chance gets between Cain and Carter and fights him for the gun. Chance is shot dead. A few minutes later, Carter shoots himself dead. Cain has Amanda turn off the cell phone blockers. She calls the cops. Jack Abbott blasts Cain for getting 3 people killed. He says Chance's death is going to crush Nina Webster, Nate Hastings, and Jill Abbott. Absolutely it will. Lily apologizes to Cain for thinking he killed Damian, but Billy thinks Cain should not move back to Genoa City as he planned, because everybody there is against him. Of course, Cain's going to ignore that. He says he and Billy can talk about AbbottCom and other deals once he gets back to their hometown. Cain tells Amanda he is not going to give up on Lily. We all knew that, right? Phyllis Summers and Billy agree that Cain's big plan ended badly, and Billy wants Phyllis's help to get Chancellor back away from the Newmans. She's on board. Victor wants Adam Newman to send a helicopter to get them the heck out of there. Nick reassures Sharon his wound is not too bad, and they have a long-awaited kiss. Victor, like Jack, is also blaming Cain for everything. Victor vows to make Cain pay for all of this, including Nick's injury. Billy tells Nikki and Lauren that Nick is okay, and she runs off to cuddle her boy. On Tuesday, July 29th, Lily has to tell Nate that his brother Damian was murdered. Nate is going to be devastated. He lost his new brother. Cain being in town is going to be messy because Nate's not going to want to look at his face. Kyle Abbott and Audra Charles. Struggle for power gets dangerous. I don't know if it's going to get literally dangerous. We'll see. But in the end, they both are probably going to be in trouble with Claire Grace Newman and Nate. Billy and Phyllis are in a position to defend Cain. Billy and Phyllis still both think that Cain is the solution to all their problems. Carter going nuts wasn't his fault. It wasn't like he asked him to do any of that. But Jack and Victor, of course, think this is all on Cain. On Wednesday, July 30th, Amy Lewis gets the awful news from Nate that her son is dead, and she is going to be inconsolable. I hope it doesn't set back her cancer. Victoria Newman and Adam are finally getting along as siblings. They've got a peace deal. The rest of the family is probably going to be amazed. Victor teaches Cain a lesson on Wednesday. Victor's going to slap Cain down. But then again, the mustache can't really stop the plan that Cain's already got in motion since he's had Holden Novak busy working for him all this time. So, we'll see how it goes long run. I think Victor might have met his match in this new Cain. On Thursday, July 31st, Nick and Sharon's brand new reunion hits a speed bump, but I think it's going to be okay. Jack and Diane Jenkins are very concerned about Kyle and what happened in France and the messy Audra and Victor plot against him and Clare. They do not want Kyle going dark again. Victor unites the Newmans, and of course, they need to fight off Cain and Billy and other threats coming their way. On Friday, August 1st, Tessa Porter gets assistance from Daniel Romalotti. He is spending time in the park with Tessa and little Aria Porter Copeland. Daniel has a lot of doubts about his mom, Phyllis's new plan. Of course, that's her alliance with Billy to get Chancellor, and also her plot with Cain to get everything else she wants. Daniel thinks this is all more crazy talk from Mom. Jack sacrifices something for Billy. We'll see if it's Abbotcom. We'll see if it's his peace of mind. Going into the following week, August 4th through the 8th, Cain is going to be in Genoa City officially. If you remember, Cain bought the GCAC, and I wonder if he's going to set up his living arrangements there. They have so many people living there instead of having other sets. Or maybe, since Cain's going to be around long-term, Y&R splurged on a new set. Or maybe we're just going to see Cain getting an office at the GCAC. Obviously, he's going to check in with Holden and how he's progressing with his target list, which included Mariah Copeland, Chelsea Lawson-Newman, Clare, and I think Abby Newman was on the list. There was somebody else on the list. Remember, we have got Cain with a lot of irons in the fire. So, what was going on in France was just the tip of the iceberg. Phyllis is already living in the GCAC, and that's going to help the schemers get together. I think we're going to see a lot of Billy and Phyllis plotting there with Cain. Sally, of course, may wonder where this leaves her. Is Jack going to cave and let her run Abbotcom to keep Billy from spiraling? Maybe that's the big sacrifice. The thing is, Billy being close to Phyllis is not going to be great for his relationship with Sally. I'm assuming Amanda is going to be staying at the GTAC. Things are going to be really tense for Amanda and Cain with the Winters family after Damian's murder, and all the blame being heaped on Cain. Nate surely is going to confront Cain for getting his brother killed, and Nate's going to be distraught and furious. He was just getting to know Damian, and they were just forming this bond. Now he's gone for no good reason. All of Genoa City is going to be grieving Chance Chancellor's death, and Billy owes his mom Jill a phone call to explain what happened, but it might be Lily that makes that call instead. Kyle is stunned and upset that he wasn't there for Claire when her dad, Cole Howard, died. I'm interested to see if Audra makes accusations to preempt Kyle trying to expose her scheme. When Kyle said he was going to expose it, Audra said she was going to say he came on to her. So, we may end up with a, he said, she said. And again, I still don't like that Kyle was kissing on her. That's cheating in my book. Victor is determined to outplay Kyle where Claire is concerned, and he may lie to Nikki. Cain's going to be struggling as the town pariah, but being unwelcome may make him more determined. Sharon and Nick's sparks continue to grow. The young and the restless spoilers document that Chance Chancellor's death has profound implications on both sides of the screen. Floyd recorded his last scene in the fictional town of Genoa City, Wisconsin, and is already working in his new fictional setting of Salem, Illinois, on Days of Our Lives, where he recently assumed the role that Billy Flynn held since 2014. Devoted audience members of one or both shows were aware of the unusual nature of Cain, asking Chance to protect him at his estate in the south of France. Viewers appreciated the coolness of seeing Floyd work with Flynn, who he was replacing on Days. Fans also knew that Chance was either not long for Y&R's world, with that character either being written off, recast, or killed off. One of the immediate effects of Chance's death is that two former residents of Genoa City, Wisconsin, Nina Webster and Jill Abbott, deserve to be seen at Chance's funeral service in the coming days. The greatest character to emerge during Y&R's debut in 1973 was Catherine Chancellor. One of the most impactful storylines during the 1970s involved Catherine's husband, Philip Chancellor Dishant, becoming involved with Jill Foster. Jill later added Abbott to her name when she married the next love of her life, John Abbott. Philip and Jill had a child, Philip Chancellor III, which established one of this soap opera's greatest rivalries. Catherine and Jill's relationship turned from mentoring to enemy status. Catherine's inability to control her need to drink, following Philip II's betrayal, led to her crashing a car she was driving. It was the famed cliffhanger, as Cooper's character drove the car, with Philip II in it, off a cliff after he refused to reconcile. Philip Aix survived the accident long enough to marry Jill in the hospital. Catherine was seriously injured, but survived to become GC's grande dame. Philip III grew up and eventually met Nina. He was Nina's best friend's boyfriend, but that didn't prevent Cast's character from targeting him. Catherine and Jill allied and attempted to bribe Nina to leave town after it was known that she was pregnant with Philip III's child, Philip IV, who came to be known as Chance. Nina previously had another son, Ronan Malloy, who was stolen shortly after he was born. Ronan wasn't seen on screen until he was a Soracid adult in 2010. Branson last appeared on the show in 2012. So, Chance's living relatives would normally be at his upcoming funeral. An often used plot technique has verbal references made about characters who aren't written back. Jill is a recurring character. Nina is sporadically shown, last appearing in 2023. It would be great to see Beards again. Philip III is Chance's father, but this character hasn't been seen since 2011. He carries the Chancellor's name, which is one of the most important originals on this enduring soap. Floyd delivered solid performances after replacing Donnie Boaz in 2021. He's set to do the same in replacing Floyd on Days, with his first appearance scheduled for 2026, due to that show's advanced recording schedule. The audience knew Chance's presence in GC was shifting when his spouse, the now Abby Winters, became involved with and then married Devin Winters. Chance's purpose since that time has been the city's main lawman. It will be interesting to see if Y&R introduces a new detective, because one is surely needed, considering the volume of crime and misdeeds that regularly occur in this famous Midwestern city where the Chancellor family was once prominent.